Hi GOR. This is a quick little review, things to know for test unit 1, so just a little bit more practice, making sure that you know concepts. Basically with angles, remember that angles are going to be either congruent, they're going to equal 90, or they're going to equal 180. So there might be information in words or there might be information in a picture. Remember that vertical angles are congruent to each other, so basically all these right here are congruent. Vertical angles are angles that are opposite each other. So right here, anytime I have two intersecting lines, the angles opposite each other are congruent. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. So if I give you the measures of those angles, you're going to set them equal to each other and solve. Another thing that makes congruent angles is an angle bisector. So again, if I'm cut this red line right here, which I just now made purple, cuts the angle in half, that means this half equals this half. So again, if I give you the two halves, you can set them equal to each other. Just be careful if I'm giving you the half or the whole angle based on what letters are being used. If you have parallel lines, alternate interior angles are congruent. So those are the blue angles that we have right there. They're interior, they're between the parallel lines, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. But alternate interior angles are congruent, and corresponding angles are congruent. So corresponding angles are those blue angles right there. They're both in the same spot. They sort of correspond, they match up to each other. They're also congruent to each other. So you'll have some that have pictures and the angles will be there, and you have to decide, are they congruent or do they equal 180? Do they equal 90? What's going on? Angles that equal 90. Complementary angles equal 90. So these are all angles that equal 90. If I see this symbol right here, that symbol means that it's a right angle. And another symbol is this perpendicular sign right there. So that upside down T means perpendicular, and perpendicular lines form right angles. So if I tell you AB is perpendicular to CD, you go ahead and put the symbol for a right angle right there. Angles that equal 180. Well, supplementary angles equal 180. A linear pair equals 180. And if I have parallel lines, same side interior angles equal 180. So these blue angles right here, they are on the same side of the transversal and they're both interior angles. So together you add them and you set them equal to 180. Alrighty. Bisector, remember we talked about that there were two types of bisectors. I can bisect an angle or I could bisect a segment. So if I bisect an angle, I already talked about that. I cut an angle in half. If I bisect a segment, if this line bisects a segment, it goes through the segment at its midpoint, and those segments are equal to each other. Basically, a segment bisector is the same thing as a midpoint. A midpoint right here, M is the point in the middle, and it cuts the segment in half. So basically, AM, the left half, would be congruent to MB, the right half. Remember that segments don't equal 90 or 180. Only angles equal 90 or 180. All right, so basically here, what's the difference between segments and angles? Because believe it or not, it can be a little bit confusing. These are angles right here. So those are angles that form a line. See the degree sign right there? So that's another way I know it's an angle. The angles equal 180. This, on the other hand, these are segments. All right, those don't equal 180. If B was a midpoint, I'm showing this little symbol right here, the little slash mark, is showing you that those segments are congruent, so I would set them equal to each other. But they are not the angles, they are not equaling 180. You should also know that the angles of a triangle add up to 180. So angle A, B, and C, anytime you have a triangle equals 180. And you should know that the exterior angle of a triangle, that's the angle outside the triangle, equals the two inside angles added together. So we've done all of this on the other review sheet, but I will have some more problems here for us to try. All right, I'm just reviewing an additional review of things that you should know. I know your test is open notebook, but it is timed. So if you don't know these concepts prior, you're not going to be able to finish the test. All right, and isosceles triangle means that two sides are congruent, and that would mean that those two base angles are congruent to each other as well. We talked about a plane. A plane is just a flat surface that extends indefinitely in all direction. the word collinear. Collinear means that the points form a line. Okay, so that's collinear. Planes intersect in a line. So if I have this box right here, like the top of the box and the front side of the box, they intersect right here at that line. You don't need to worry about auxiliary lines. That's something that we've done in the past, but I'm not doing right now. And angles at a point we also don't need to worry about. All right, so at this point, if you want to stop the video and try these problems, and then I will go over them with you. You could play it just to make sure that you got them right. That would be a great idea. I'm going to continue on now, but I do recommend that you try these on your own. So number one, I have to look at the picture and I have to say to myself, all right, what do I know is true? These are vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent to each other. So I take the angle on the left and I set it equal to the angle on the right. All right, I'm going to subtract 3x. I'm going to add 15. And then I'm going to divide by 7, and x equals 5. Number two, those are angles. Angles that form a line equal 180. So I'm going to take the angles, the angle on the left plus the angle on the right, and I'm going to set it equal to 180. Now these are like terms, so I'm going to add them together. Then I'll subtract the 18, and then I'll divide by 18. And I get Q equals 9. Number three, now on the test they'll be told to you a symbol for parallel are these two little sort of greater than signs. So if those lines are parallel, then the angles right here are alternate interior angles. Remember, alternate interior angles are equal to each other. So I'm setting those equal to each other. I'm going to subtract x. I'm going to add 20, divide by 2, and x equals 50. Number four, the symbols there, these are same side interior angles. And same side interior angles equal 180. They are not congruent to each other, so I have to add them and set them equal to 180. Those are like terms, so I have 4x plus 40 equals 180. I subtract 40. I divide by 4, and x equals 35. Okay, so we're looking at the picture and we're figuring out what is true about those angles. 5 is a triangle. Remember, the exterior angle of a triangle equals those two interior angles added together. So I take the two interior angles, not the interior angle that's next to the exterior angle, but we call them the two remote interior angles. All right, I'm going to subtract x, and I'm going to subtract 4, and I get x equals 56. 6 are the angles of a triangle, and the angles of a triangle add up to 180. So I'm just going to take all three of those angles and set them equal to 180. I'm going to combine all those x's together, and I got 5x. I'm going to combine all the numbers together, and I get 25. I'm going to subtract 25, which gives me 155. Divide by 5, x equals 31. So I am doing these quickly, but you should have practiced them on your own. Now the key thing on number 7 is I'm bisecting angle ADC. That means I'm cutting angle ADC in half. So the top angle, 2x plus 13, is equal to the bottom angle, 5x minus 21. An angle bisector cuts the angle in half. Those two halves are equal to each other. I subtract 2x, I get 3x. I add 21, I get 34. This actually doesn't go in evenly, and I can just leave it as a fraction. Almost done here. DE bisects AC. If I'm bisecting AC, I'm cutting AC in half. So I'm going to go to AC, I'm going to cut it in half. AB is x plus 12. Again, this is not an angle. AB is a segment. And AC is 6x plus 3. Actually, I'm writing this in the wrong spot right there. That is not correct. Let's pay attention. AC is the whole segment. Let me get a different color so you can see that. AC is this whole thing. So AC is 6x plus 3. So the whole thing is 6x plus 3. So you cannot say x plus 12 equals 6x plus 3. That is not true. X plus 12 is the left half, and 6x plus 3 is the whole thing. But what you can do is that I know that this was a bisector. If the left is x plus 12, BC is also equal, so BC is x plus 12. So you can take x plus 12 plus x plus 12 and set it equal to the whole thing, which is 6x plus 12. So you have to be careful if they're giving you the whole segment or half the segment. I combine those like terms on the left. I'm going to subtract 2x. I'm going to subtract 3. I'm going to divide by 4. And again, I will get a decimal here. It doesn't go in evenly. Not a big deal. And the last one, you definitely have a problem like this last one. The big key thing here is these lines are perpendicular. That means that this is a right angle right there. Angle ECH, so ECH is right here. That is 2x plus 3. Angle HCD is right there. It's 5x minus 4. And I have to find each missing value. If these lines are perpendicular, that means this is 90. That also means this over here is 90. So I can just say 2x plus 3 plus 5x minus 4 equals 90. I'll combine those like terms. I'm going to add 1, divide by 7, and now I have x. All right, ECH. ECH is this right here. Well, now I know that x is 13. So 2 times 13 plus 3 is 29. So now I know ECH is 29. HCD was this guy right here. Now I know x is 13. So 5 times 13 minus 4. So HCD is 61. GCF. So GCF, let me grab another color. GCF is right here, where I'm putting the red dot. GCF and ECH are vertical angles. See, these lines are intersecting. So those two angles are vertical angles. So angle GCF is also 29 degrees. This was 29 degrees, this angle. So GCF has to be 29 degrees. Let me grab another color. Next one I want to find is ECG. ECG is right here where I'm putting the blue dot. These two angles together form a line. So all I need to do to find ECG is do 180 minus 29, which is 151. And the last one is GCD. And GCD, let me get the green. GCD is this right here. GCD, I know I got a lot written here. It's basically these two angles together. So I'm adding the 29 plus the 90, which is 119. Okay, so there were multiple problems based on that one picture. I started by finding x, and then I can substitute. There were vertical angles, there were complementary angles, there were perpendicular lines, so there was a lot going on. So make sure you look over your 2 review sheets. The test is open notebook, but these are, this is an overview of what you should know for the test.